Hi everybody, welcome back to the kitchen. A little bit of a story that goes with this recipe. A while back, Andy, my wife, and I went to a place here in Neptune Beach called Mezzaluna. It's one of our favorite restaurants right up in Town Center. And the chef at Mezzaluna makes a soup of the week, and it's always really good. You always just want to try the soup. Well, the soup that was there when we went most recently was something called spicy beet soup with, I think it was goat cheese as a garnish. And it was really, really good. I really enjoyed it. So I thought, what can I do with beets? I like beets, and I like to make soup. In fact, here during the colder weather months, I make a lot of soup. It's a great light lunch and really very tasty. And yes, I can go buy soup in the store, but I also have the ability to make soup, so I like to do it. And one of the soups that I regularly make in the wintertime is tomato soup. I thought, wouldn't it be good to take some beets and throw them in with the tomato soup, see what that does? And I did that, and it was good, and I really liked it. And I told Andy about it, and she told some of her friends, and her friends said, well, we like soup and we like to make soup, and can you give us a recipe? Well, yeah, I can give you a recipe. That's pretty easy. Write it down on a piece of paper and hand it to you. I thought I'd make a video instead, so let me show you how I make my tomato beet soup. So let's start out with the mise en place. And I spared you the video of me chopping up everything because it kind of takes a long time, and I didn't think that you would actually stay with me through the entire mise en place process. But here we go. I've got tomatoes, tomato soup, that makes sense. I've got a red bell pepper, just kind of one red bell pepper, and that's about maybe, I think I used 3 large beefsteak tomatoes. I've got a little over a pound of beets that are peeled and trimmed and ready to go. There's some regular white onion there. There's garlic. And then for some herbs, I've got Italian flat parsley, and I've got some dried basil. And of course, you can also use fresh basil if you have it. I didn't happen to have any in my kitchen right now, so it's going to be dried basil, but that's fine. It'll actually work out pretty well. Over here I have the equipment, and it's pretty rudimentary. It is one, I call it a chef's pan. Some people call it a large saucier. It's a really versatile pan. If you don't have one, I would highly recommend that you get one, just because it'll do so many things. If you're looking to do things in one-pot meals, this is a great pan to do that in. Mine happens to say Emerald Lagasse on it. I really don't care about that. I bought it because, frankly, it was on sale. So there's my saucier. Over there in the back, you can see I've got a little Le Creuset that's got some rice in it that I'm going to put in the soup later on when it's time to have lunch. But that's the equipment. That's the mise en place. Let's get started. Well, here we go. I've got my pan preheated, and I'll grab over here some olive oil, and I'm just going to put a pretty generous amount of olive oil in the bottom of that pan and get the bottom of it coated. And the first thing to go in is going to be the onion. You have to be careful when you do that. I have burned myself pretty badly pouring onion into hot oil like that. It wasn't pretty, and it wasn't fun. So I've got my onions going pretty well there. I'm going to go ahead and throw in a pretty generous couple of pinches of kosher salt, and in go the beets and the bell peppers, and I'll go ahead and toss the garlic in there as well. We'll get all of that mixed together and going. Tomatoes will go in last. So that's going along nicely. I'm going to go ahead and throw the tomato in. And the tomato has to cook down for quite a while just to release all of the liquid out of it and make sure that it gives us all that good rich tomato water, which will help makes the soup. Now I'm going to add a little bit more seasoning. This is something called the blend. that buy it at almost any grocery store, I guess. And it's just salt, pepper, and garlic. And I know I've got garlic in there. I know I've got salt in there. And I'm just going to add a little bit more of that. And then I'm going to throw in something. This is called Buttery Steakhouse, which will give it a little bit of a buttery flavor as well. I know real chefs would cringe that I'm using that kind of seasoning probably in my food. But hey, I'm not a real chef and I don't play one on TV. That's going pretty good there. Just kind of simmering away. Tomatoes are starting to break down. So what I'm going to go ahead and do now is I'm going to add in a cup of, this is turkey stock that I made the day after Thanksgiving out of the turkey carcass that was left over from the meal. And I'm going to throw in that dried basil and this chopped parsley, and I'll get all that mixed in, and we're going to let that simmer for a little while longer just to get everything good and broken down, the beets all nice and soft, and everything seasoned very nicely. And in fact, I probably ought to just give that a taste here real quick. I won't get much basil out of it because that basil is still not rehydrated, but that's okay. Let's grab a little spoon over here and we'll... That's going to be a good one. We are very well simmered down. Simmer down! And you can see what kind of nice red color that soup is going to have when it gets all blended up. And that's why we have the blender. I did mention, by the way, that it was homemade turkey stock that I had put in there. You don't have to use homemade turkey stock, obviously, if you want to do chicken stock, vegetable stock, broth, whatever you want to do is fine. I just happen to have this turkey stock, so that's what I put in it. Okay, now we're going to start transferring this to this. And for that, we need this. You don't really want to just try to pour all that into the blender at once because it is very hot. And I mentioned a little bit earlier about how I have burned myself putting onions into hot oil and having them splatter. Well, you sure don't want to pour a big saucier full of tomato beet soup on the hoof on your foot or on your leg or wherever. And I've been pretty good today, but when I make this soup, I do like to put on an apron because normally I get beets all over me, and you know how that works out. So I think I've got that to a point now where I can safely pour the rest of this in. I'm not going to wash that just yet because the soup is going to go back in there after I get it all blended, and just let everything come together for another couple of minutes after the blending. Okay, let's go to the Oasterizer. This is something you could for sure do with a stick blender if you preferred to do it that way. I just happen to like the Oasterizer for this. I am going to get... Give me a second. I did want to get a little bit more turkey stock just to fill that up, and I wanted to show you the stock. I did record another video when I made this stock, so I think I've got that posted. If I don't, it will be shortly. So we've got that, and I probably won't take that full cup, but I just want to bring that up to the level kind of full on the blender. And that way the soup will certainly last me for at least 3 and maybe 4 days, depending on what I put in with it. So, lid goes on. Let me get a paper towel. I leave that top off just so it'll vent properly and doesn't get all pressure built up. I don't think it'd ever build up enough pressure to blow the top off, but just in case, we'll do that, and then we hit go. This is just going to blend until smooth. I think we're in pretty good shape. I'm going to bring that down like that. Oh, and that's why I should have left the paper towel on the top. But the good news is I have on an apron. And it didn't get too far gone. Okay, let's give this a taste and just see where we are. I think we're going to be really in pretty good shape with this. Campbell's Eat Your Heart Out. For the finishing touches, I'm just going to bring this back over here and pour it right back into the saucier. And we'll scrape the rest of that out of there. And we'll just make sure that's all. This is maybe an unnecessary step, but it helps with the serving. And it also gives me an opportunity to let you see that really, really wonderful color of that soup. So I'm going to let that sit there on the stove for not very long, a couple, 3 minutes, just to get everything all warmed back up and mixed together, because I did put some cold stock in it. It doesn't look like it's going to be very cold. Obviously, it's steaming, but we'll get into the serving suggestions in just a minute. It is almost lunchtime. I have my soup, and I told you earlier that I had made some rice. This just kind of makes it a little bit heartier meal. If I take some of this rice and just put it in the bottom of the bowl, not very much, maybe quarter cup or so. And then we'll just ladle some of the soup in on top of the rice. I have, and you're certainly welcome to put whatever you want. I mean, you're going to eat it in your soup. I mean, oftentimes I'll throw a little fresh spinach, maybe some leftover chicken diced up and put in the soup is always good. But for now, we'll just have tomato soup and rice. And over here, have a little half of a biscuit that I made earlier. And that's going to be lunch. This is about a perfect winter lunch as far as I'm concerned. One thing more that I normally put on a lot of things is this. This is kind of some faux Parmesan cheese. It's reduced fat Parmesan-like product. And, you know, it's okay. It's not real cheese, but it'll do the job. Put that on there. I hope that what I've been able to show you is that making soup is actually pretty easy. If you have a few basic kitchen tools and a little bit of an idea of kind of the way things go together. I really enjoy making my own soup. I enjoy cooking a lot of things, but as I said, I'm not a chef by anybody's estimation. But what I hope will happen is that you'll spend some time this holiday season spending some time in your kitchen, getting reacquainted with the food that you eat and the things that you really enjoy. It's a lot of fun, and it's very gratifying, particularly when you put something down on a holiday table and you say, yeah, I made that. Your friends and your family are probably going to be impressed unless you just hang out with a lot of foodies. So spend some time in your kitchen this holiday season. Make something that you really enjoy. And I really hope you have a really nice holiday season. And now, as they say, the moment of truth. Don't think it gets much better than that. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you next time.